calling Shannon High.
Downey, this is your team. Please meet us at Dairy Queen. We miss you, Downey. Please. Please come home, Downey.
My name is Shannon High, and I'm running to be your junior class president.
Whoa, where'd the seat cushion go?
Wait, we forgot.
Shannon, where's Shannondale? Do you know about this?
They'll never notice.
Welcome back, everyone. Another episode of The Shannon Show. It's the podcast where I talk to some of the coolest military kids in the world, and today's no exception. We have two fantastic guests joining the show, two great military kids. They're the two co-founders of Bloom, which is an organization that seeks to empower military teens, and I'm so excited to hear all about it and hear all about them as well. It's Elena and Matthew joining the show today. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks for asking.
Yes, of course. So excited to have you guys on the show. You guys are doing some very cool things with Bloom, and I can't wait to hear all about it. First, I want to hear a little bit about you guys yourselves and a little bit of your backgrounds being military kids. So which branch are your families part of?
So we're both Army brats.
Gotcha.
Go Army, beat Navy.
So I've had a lot of all sorts of branches on the show, so that's pretty cool stuff. Where are you guys now? Where are you going to school? I'm pretty sure you guys are in high school. I looked at your website a little bit. I tried to gain a little bit of information. So just tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we're both rising seniors in high school, which is absolutely crazy, especially considering the last time we saw each other in person was freshman year of high school.
Oh.
Right now I'm currently stationed in like Southern Florida, Broward County. I go to Cooper City High School. And yeah, but before then I lived in Pennsylvania, that's where I met Matthew.
Gotcha.
Yep. I'm here in Camp Humphreys, South Korea. I know you're a Kubasaki grad.
Yeah,
so
Kumasaki kid. I have a friend who just graduated from up there. So we played baseball together at Camp Humphreys, and I've been up there a few times myself for Far East baseball, and I did a Far East drama up there as well. So
great.
all sorts of fun stuff. That base is huge. Every time I go up there, it seems like there's more stuff being built and all sorts of new things.
Yeah, we got 3 more towers popping up, and the cranes everywhere. New traffic circle coming up. It's insane.
Traffic circle. That's big news. Yeah.
Yes. I don't know why we need one, but apparently we do. So yeah, that's the story of Humphreys Law, we call it. But yeah, so I'm a fellow Dodea Pacific kid. And yeah, I've been here for 2 years, and I'll be graduating here as well. So
yeah, same deal. Awesome. We were both super lucky to only have to go to 1 or 2 high schools, one other high school than our freshman year high school. I have friends who have moved all 4 years of their high school career or 3 years, and I don't envy their position. So I feel very lucky that I got to stay in one high school for the majority of my high school career.
Yeah, it's probably the toughest time to move, honestly. I hear so many just horrible stories, and I went to 2 different high schools as well. So probably my toughest transition, I would say. I'm not sure about you guys, but please tell me
definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
I agree.
Yeah, it's not easy. Tell me how you guys met, please. Is that in Pennsylvania?
Matthew, do you want me
to? So
because this is just crazy friendship. You guys are so far apart. Please.
So our dads were both stationed at Carlisle Barracks, which is the Army War College, and we were freshmen, and I think
we had the same first period English class. Mrs. McMahon, she no longer teaches there, I've heard, which is unfortunate. I thought he entirely hated me because he's like that kind of kid who like gives off those vibes. And that was the first time I ever met him. Like he was very intimidating. He definitely looked like the smart kid in school. Definitely very I definitely thought he hated me because I'm very obnoxious and loud. I mean, I'm a theater kid, like it's kind of expected.
And I guess I just kind of I'm a quiet guy until you get to know me. And so I don't think we met in English, though. I think our first interaction
we also had several classes together. But the first time I ever met you was McMahon's class, first day of school, 9th grade. Mm-hmm. We also had 6th period together with the incomparable Mr. Gavazzi teaching U.S. history. And I think that was the first interaction we had. I'll let Matthew tell that story.
We had this assignment where we had to go around the class and introduce ourselves to everyone in the class, we had a little
Yeah.
checklist to write down a fun fact, and this girl comes up to me and she's like, "Hi, I'm Elena Ashburn, like ashes burn," and I guess I learned your last name then and how to spell it. But yeah,
It's
that
my
was
go-to line
great.
because people are always
Uh-huh.
like, "How do you spell your name?" But normally they're talking about my first name, so it's not very helpful to give them my last name.
That's
But
funny. So were you guys like best friends right away?
no,
No?
no, it took some time for us to warm up to each other. I think we really started becoming friends because of two reasons. One were our our history teacher. He made us do cahoots after every single like chapter, and it was like everyone played, but it was either Matthew or I winning. So we had this like long running like competitive streak of just like who is going to win the most cahoots. And I think we ended up like tying at the end of the year for like the exact same amount of first place wins. And then I think the second thing was like we got put in a lot of groups together for group projects.
Yeah.
And we both think and like I guess create in very much so the same way. We're very similar people. And I think for me, the first one that we really like bonded over was we had to do like a PSA. And he's quite the videographer and he like made this whole elaborate like plan and I as the theater kid starred in it and it's not great but it sure was fun and we had a great time and ever since then we've been doing videos together, making music together, just doing anything. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, Matthew, is there anything else I forgot?
That's so
No.
cool. Yeah. But you guys like came together over like your like this shared creative passion in a way. Like they're different things, but you guys kind of put that together and wow, that's cool stuff, guys. Fun.
We're both very musically inclined. I think that was also helpful. I've been playing the violin since forever. And obviously as a theater kid, I love music and he's been also playing instruments since forever. He's a percussionist and we've collaborated a lot like musically. And I think that that also was a huge reason why we vibed immediately.
Yeah. Interesting. So how did that turn into the founding of Bloom? That's what I want to kind of get into now. It's like I just think it's such a cool thing. How did this? Whose idea was it? How did it happen? What were the initial thoughts? Tell me.
I like to say it was my idea, but it never would have gotten anywhere without Matthew. So I will take credit for the idea, but it would have just remained an idea without Matthew. I think like we both moved away from Carlisle in around June-ish of 2019. And that was the hardest move I certainly had ever experienced. And it was really tough because I'd met so many great people there and I was really well established in the high school. I had clubs that I loved. I had friends that I loved and teachers that I loved. And it was just really hard. And I went through a really tough time. And, you know, one day I kind of like sat there and I was kind of like, what is all this suffering for? You know what I mean? Like I'm having to go through all of this, but for what reason? Like, I wish there was a way I could, you know, suffer for a better end goal. Like I could use this to help other people. And I'll let Matthew take it from there, I guess.
Yeah, we kind of, it was a hard move for all of us at our whole friend group at Carlisle Barracks. You know, it's such a short assignment, 10 months at War College. And we all got so close, which kind of, it was even more painful when we all had to split up. And so
a blessing and a curse for sure.
Yes. Definitely some of the closest friends I've ever met came out of that assignment. But then, you know, as we mentioned earlier, we're very creative people. So we were trying to find ways to create with each other. You know, I moved to Korea and she moved to Florida. And so creating was kind of our way to try to stay connected. We tried a bunch of different things to kind of channel our creativity and our experiences, none of which turned out very well. We tried to write a novel. We don't
need to go into specifics. They're embarrassing specifics.
Let's
get forward to the part where we achieve
and be
stuff
on Broadway. But yes, those were kind of put on the back burner. And then Elena had the idea for Bloom. I don't remember when. I do remember that you had the idea, and then we kind of are like, okay,
I
that's cool.
had
And
it
then
very early
yeah,
on
and
into the
then
move for
we got
sure.
busy, and like a lot of things, and then it kind of COVID actually was such a blessing in disguise in our case. I know I won't call it a blessing outright,
You're good, man.
but
You're good. I know what you're saying.
No,
yeah,
a lot of it was the perfect timing. You know what I mean? It wouldn't have happened without COVID. And like there were definitely so many terrible things that happened because of COVID, but like that was one really good thing in my life that happened.
Yeah, we just had a lot of time, especially with, school went virtual.
Yeah.
Here at Humphreys for the first, like, for the rest of the year in virtual, basically, it was pretty much a free for all. And so I only had to go to like one virtual class per week because only one of my teachers was, putting in the work to actually have a meeting. All of my other teachers just sent work that I knocked out right away. And so I had all this free time to build our website and stuff. And Elena had free time too. And we just kind of built it up and then started recruiting a bunch of our friends to write articles and be creative with us. And then April 10th, which is apparently National Day of the Military Child.
2020.
Yes, 2020.
Perfect. So why a website?
That's a good question. And I don't know that there's 100% an answer. We just know that like we thought of a lot of stuff. Like initially my plan was like, there needs to be like a way to connect and like knowledge share. But we also were very aware. We've been very aware since the beginning of like safety issues, especially as kids who are connected to, service members. Safety is the top priority for a lot of our families. So it was like, how do we make a safe way for us to have a knowledge share and a safe way for us to connect? And we kind of landed on, a website, and it's kind of grown past a website now. Which is really exciting, and we're really excited to see all the ways in which it'll continue to grow. But honestly, the main reason was safety and then, ease. It was far easier to create a website than it would have been to create some sort of online like space for people to connect. And I think that it was definitely, in retrospect, it was definitely the right choice. And it was definitely a good way to kick it off. I think we would have been way in over our heads if we had done it any other way.
Yeah. So what was the initial goal of the site? Was it the blog first? Do you just want to share like kind of written articles, or was it like, I'm not sure, like some other form of communication? What was the goal you're trying to solve with the website, and how were you communicating, I guess, if that makes sense?
Yeah, so the blog was our first content creation. And it was kind of, our goal in that was just open up a space for military kids to share their experiences, and for others to read these and relate, to feel like they're not alone, and also for people who haven't gone through these experiences to kind of get a glimpse into what people like us go through.
And also, I think very central to why we wanted it to be, sort of the way that it is, where it's like kids writing to other kids, is because we felt like, especially in the military community, when you talk about military kids, first off, you're always talking about people under the age of 12. There's not a whole lot of representation when it comes to teens. They don't tend to focus on them because, let's be honest, we're not the pretty poster children. I think everyone would much rather see a smiling baby or like a toddler, running up to hug their dad
Holding
as they
the
come
flag
back
or
home.
whatever,
Exactly. Like they're the cute picture that you see on the news. Us, maybe not so much. But then also, when it comes to any sort of military child, no matter the age, we're being spoken about and we're being represented by adults who are oftentimes have not even been military children themselves. So we really wanted to make it a space where military kids could accurately represent themselves instead of, having adults speak for them. And I think that was one
that
of
makes
the
a lot
other
of
reasons
sense.
why.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's you explained that perfectly. I mean, there's just nothing like it, and there's nothing big enough to support all of us. Um, yeah, that's fantastic. When did you know that this was going to be successful? Because you said you tried a lot of other things over COVID. When were you like, okay, this doesn't suck. Like we should keep on doing this? Was there like one moment, or is it you just like found yourself you just keep on opening the website? Well, what was it for you guys?
There was definitely a moment like that for me, but I don't know about Matthew. I think we both have different ideas. Um, there are like two main ones. Number one for me was like right before we even launched the site. It was like March, and like it was the time where everyone on Instagram was doing like story games. And it was like bingo and whatever. Like you would post it on your story and like tag 3 people, and it went viral. Like a bunch of people were doing them. And I thought like, oh, how funny would it be for me to post one? So I made like a Bloom Instagram account and I posted one, and it went crazy. We got thousands of responses. Like our DMs were blowing up with mentions, and we grew from like probably like less than 100 followers to almost 700 followers in the span of 24 hours just from that one story game. And that was the first moment I was like, whoa, like people actually kind of want to see what we're doing, which is crazy. And like that was like a couple days before we'd even launched the site. Like this was before we had any articles out. And that was crazy just to see that. But I think the second thing that really like it like, wow, this is a thing that's here to stay. I think it was when we were invited to speak at the MSEC Ed Summit. I remember very distinctly. So Matthew and I were invited to host like a little, I don't know what you would call it, like
facilitated discussion, I think was
at this at the Ed Summit that the Military Child Education Coalition did. And like other people speaking at it included like Jill Biden and people from the Department of Defense.
Oh, wow.
And I just remember like sitting on my bed and like sobbing happy tears for no reason, just because I'm like, wow, this is crazy. Like a year ago, this didn't even exist. And now we're literally speaking at the same thing as Jill Biden. Like, what? It was
insane.
so crazy. And like, it was one of the first moments I was like, wow, like people, this isn't just Matthew and I like sitting and like posting articles that our friends write. This is a lot bigger than that. And that was a really special moment for me. Matthew?
Yeah, I agree with all those. But also, hearing from the people that were working on it with us and seeing how much it meant to them to be involved and to be able to share their experiences was what kind of kept me going at the beginning. Just knowing that people are enjoying being a part of this and are finding joy and purpose in that was really powerful for me.
Yeah, that must be so satisfying for you guys to see it. Like it blows up right away because of this game, but now you're fulfilling your mission and very successfully. I mean, Jill Biden at the same. I can't even put into words. That must have been so cool for you guys.
She was the keynote, and we were this tiny little.
I get
it, but like
we weren't like headlining next to Jill Biden. No, but like it was crazy. It was a crazy moment for sure. Like we never could have like a year before that, I was like super depressed and like one of the worst like moments of my life, and like a year later I'm literally at the same thing as Jill Biden. Like what? Like it was so crazy, and like I'm so grateful. It's wild.
Unbelievable. Is there anything like throughout this, I guess, how old is Bloom now? A little over a year, I guess.
A year and some change. I think it's a year and like 3 or 4 months.
Gotcha. Is there anything that you've learned throughout? I'm sure you've learned a lot, but is there anything you've learned specifically about military kids, like an issue that you didn't know was as big as it was, or something that's like much more pressing and that you became like passionate about?
Yeah. I feel like Elena and
I'm laughing because I want to tell you something, but I can't. We're legally bound to not tell you about this, but I promise you will know soon.
We can talk about like the basics, but
yeah, okay.
I think this ties into one of your other questions that you sent us too. But personally, I feel like there's so much. Elena and I live a very specific lifestyle, and as army brats, as officers' kids too, and there's so much disparity between the experiences of an army brat or a navy brat or a marine brat, and depending on rank and the family size, and there's so much diversity within the military.
Yeah.
And this has kind of opened my eyes up to that. There's families with the FMP who members who aren't getting the adequate support that they need at schools and on post. And there are kids who have gone without, who don't have they don't have a relationship with their serving parent, basically because of deployments and prolonged absences, and they just have a completely different outlook on it than I would. So I guess just opening our eyes up to those diverse perspectives. Another thing Elena was alluding to was we recently closed our survey, our military teen survey, which we conducted with the National Military Family Association, to measure mental well-being and lifestyle,
among many other
stuff
things.
like that. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And with that, we kind of hope to shed some light on some of the specific struggles that military kids go through as well.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously there are the issues of like mental well-being and like how crushing it can be on a family dynamic to be a part of the military. And this, I guess the problem I was going to say is a bit more, it's not as pressing. But something that this whole experience has really taught me is like how, like, sorry for the pun, but like bratty the military kid community is. Like, I feel like there's a really, really stark divide, especially between like active duty. I feel like active duty brats in a lot of cases, and this is coming from an active duty brat.
Sure, yeah.
Like they think they're like the top, like they think they're the best. They're the definition of military kid. Like they are all that and the bag of chips. And I think that they tend to look down on military brats who might be retired, military brats who are in the reserves, like military brats that have moved less. I've moved only like 5 or 6 times, which compared to like all my friends is weak sauce. Like I've barely moved compared to them.
Yeah.
And I feel like looked down upon because I've moved less. And like I can't imagine what, like if me having moved like 5 times getting looked down upon for that, I can't imagine what it's like for a reserves kid or a retired kid who's maybe even never moved. But I feel like they're just as valid of a military kid as I am as an active duty kid. Yeah. And I think like, yeah, as Matthew was saying, there's a real diversity in the military community. And I feel like we've learned that, there's a lot of varying experiences that are all valid and they're all worthy of recognition and assistance. Right. Like active duty military kids are not the only ones that matter. And like it's dumb that I feel like that's the narrative that we all are kind of taught to think.
Yeah, that's really interesting, guys. I have not heard anything about that before. Like no one has ever talked about that I know of on the show or anything. So I'm so glad that you guys are working towards that and bringing light to those issues because, the military is a really diverse place. And I guess we shouldn't expect, everyone, I don't know the best way to put it. You guys said it. Everyone is, they should be on the same level, but they're not. I guess there is a lot of diversity in the military life that is not considered. Wow, that was serious stuff. I do something every show. It's a preposterous predicament. It's a little would you rather question. Let's lighten things up just a little bit, and we'll get back into some more military kid issues. Would you rather fight to the death 100 duck-sized horses or 1 horse-sized duck? What do you guys think?
I'm gonna go with the big duck, just because I really like ducks. I guess that's sad to kill it, but also I'd like to see a duck that big.
just for the fun of it.
I don't think I'm thinking of like strategy and killing it. I don't think that's how I approach this question. I approach it on which would I rather see.
But yeah, I think the big duck as well. Just because, I feel like you could get it done quicker. Because
Interesting.
you have to.
Because
Yeah.
100's a big number when it's like
100 is a
like
lot,
and
but
ducks
they're
aren't
small.
Ducks aren't like
They're
like,
small.
full-grown ducks, or are we
Yeah,
talking
but
ducklings? If
yeah.
it's ducklings, you can kick them in the gut.
Even
I'm sorry,
full-
that's sad. But it's true.
You would. There are multiple. Like, I feel like it would take a lot more effort to subdue each individual little duck than one big one, because just going for
Also,
Right.
I feel like
efficiency here.
you could like tie the legs of the duck together like AT-AT style in like
Oh,
Star
so
Wars,
here,
and it'll
now
go.
we have the strategy
Yeah.
coming in. Yes, there you go.
Versus like, what are you gonna do with the little horses? Like,
Ducks are kind of fast though. I feel like a duck that size, I'm not sure if you could like catch up to it or if you could really tie the legs. I think it would be a little
well,
more
it would
difficult.
have to be pretty heavy, and
I bet it would
yeah,
be
they're
clumsy too.
plump,
I bet
yeah.
it also couldn't
Mhm.
fly if it was that heavy. It would have to be pretty freaking light
Right.
to fly
Yes.
at that like size.
That'd be like, yes, that I can imagine a duck that big flying. That's a very good point.
If it does fly, I would like to ride it. Like that would be
No,
great.
that's not an option. We're
Oh,
fighting it to the
sorry.
death. It's charging at you. This is one-on-one.
Charging at me.
Yes, this is that you guys are.
Well, ducks
pitting
don't
against
have
each other.
teeth and horses
Yes.
do, so I think like that would be a
There you
point
go.
for the duck.
Right. 100 little horses. I think you brought up it's a sad point, but if you have to kick them, like that's definitely the way to go if there's that many of them. But yeah, 100
There's no easy way
duck-sized horses.
to kill 100 duck-sized horses, I think. I also don't know if there's an easy way to kill one horse-sized duck, but at least there's one.
You're right. That's only one issue. One very big issue. So you guys are settled. One horse-sized duck. Bring it on. You're bring it on.
Yes.
I think
Sounds
we
good.
agree. Can we fight it together? Is that an option if we chose the same
You
thing?
know what? Sure. Just for you guys, this preposterous predicament, you guys can team up against your horse-sized duck.
Great.
An illustration of this. Someone
Yeah.
artsy out there.
Oh,
I
we
wanna see-
have a whole team of illustrators. Don't worry.
Feel free. I
We
wanna
will
see
get this.
giant duck fighting the two of you guys, and I want to see it go down AT-AT style for sure.
Please.
Well, you guys heard it. You know, if you have a different thought about that, put it in the comments or whatnot. Let's get back to Bloom and what you guys have going forward. You've done so much so far. It sounds like. Well, first of all, what are you most proud of with Bloom? Like, of all the things you've done, is there one thing they're like, yeah, I did that. We kicked butt right there. Anything?
I would say this recently, our survey that we
Yeah.
developed with NMFA. They've been so great to work with, and we developed this survey based on our experiences and the experiences of our peers. And we were aiming, our long shot goal was 2,000 respondents, just for, legitimacy of the results and stuff.
Yeah.
We ended up surpassing that, and we got about 3,000 total. Not
That's awesome,
all,
guys.
current teens, but we ended up getting, it was about 2,100 that results that we could actually use, which was mind-blowing to all of us, that we were able to get that out and get people responding. So that's something I'm very proud of.
Yeah.
I would have to agree, but also I want to offer a different answer. I mean, like, first off, like Matthew said, it was the greatest experience. Like, it's crazy how well that survey did. And like, I'm so proud of us for pushing it so hard and for getting so many responses. They like tallied like who got more responses because we were both like advertising it, and we ended up like blowing them out of the water on like response getting, which
That's
we were so
fantastic.
proud of our team. It was amazing. But I think the thing I'm most proud of is like not only the fact that like it hasn't died, but also like the fact that it's actually helping people. Like,
Yeah.
the story I always tell is like, I will never forget the first time I saw like military kids in our comments, like actually like connecting with each other. Someone was like having a hard time with a move, and someone like responded to their comment and like said, hey, if you ever need anything, I've been through this too, like DM me. And like that was such a cool like thing to see, like, wow, this thing that Matthew and I created is actually helping people. And like, the feedback that we get from people saying like, wow, I love reading and it makes me feel like I'm not alone, and it makes me know that like it's valid to feel this way. Like that makes me the most proud and like the most excited to get up and do what I do for Bloom every morning.
Wow. You mentioned your team. I haven't asked you about them yet. I meant to. Tell me a little bit. I saw your website. It seems like you got a pretty good bunch of people. Like you got quite the team. Tell me about them, how you decided who was on your team, how you assembled them, and some of their responsibilities.
Well, first off,
Well,
they're the best if they're listening, which I know they will, because
Of
they're
course.
so amazing and supportive. We love you guys.
yeah. Elena and I joke about how when we first started, we had a little competition because we're very competitive to see who could recruit more people, and I blew her out of the water.
A lot, by a lot,
It's
like
because I
20
know a lot
people, a lot.
of people. So yeah, a lot of these people are people who, you know, we've interacted with in the past, and we,
Yeah.
you know, they're our friends. And recently we've been, you know, we've had people that we know who maybe weren't as close to us express interest in wanting to be part of the team, and we kind of brought them in. And so yeah, they're just people from that we've, you know, met throughout our lives. Like some of, I think one of our team members, who's our assistant website manager, we went to kindergarten together.
Shout out to Isaac.
And then
Isaac's the best.
And then we got reconnected as he moved here in our junior year of high school, which was crazy.
Oh wow, yeah.
And then I have, you know, one of my friends from 5th and 6th grade is, you know, helping us with outreach and stuff. So our team is, I feel like our team is pretty diverse in our experiences, and
we have almost every single branch represented. We're waiting on Space Force, but someone on our team actually might be becoming Space Force, so we might actually have
there you
all of them
go.
covered.
Yeah,
So we'll see.
That's very impressive. Yes.
Yeah, and then we have, you know, we started we started by, you know, asking people to write. From there we've expanded. You know, we have very artistic people who create artwork for us, for our creator spotlight on our website. We have people who like to make videos and write, you know, funny, we make some sketches, and some, you know, we make memes. We kind of just, you know, run with whatever people
All about
want
the
to do.
memes.
Yes.
It is. The memes always do really
Very
well on social
important.
media.
Yes.
We also have some great editors. Two past editors that we've had that have been absolutely incredible. Henry and Ash, they literally killed it, and they made our lives so much easier. And also Catherine, our newest editor. So grateful, because I think we're over 150 articles now on the site. Which is crazy. And we always go through at least 2 people before we post every article. So just about every article has been read by either Matthew or I, or probably both of us have probably read every single article on there. And like our editing team works so hard, and like we're so grateful for them. And also just everyone, like it's crazy. We have, I want to say 25 or more. We always add new people, and I don't know if we've updated the team list, but
and we're all over
25.
the world too, which is pretty fun, but also really annoying when we're trying to do meetings.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're aware of, you know, time zones are
It
difficult.
happens.
Yeah, and so we have kids in, we have let's see, James is in Germany. We have Anna in, no, we have James in Switzerland.
So James in Switzerland, Anna's in Germany.
And then we have a bunch of us here in Korea.
Yeah.
And then all throughout the US. And so there's never a good time for us to all meet. So we have
Of course not. That would be too easy.
No, it'd be too easy. So we always have to have like 2 of everything that happens, so we can accommodate everyone's time zones. But it's good. I wouldn't have it any other way. Actually, if I could, everyone could stay and we're all in the same time zone. That would be the ideal way. But like, I wouldn't. We joke and complain about it, but we're just so lucky to have the team that we have.
That's part of it, though, right?
Yeah.
That's part of it. You have to. I think you have to go through that struggle to know what everyone else is dealing with too. It'd be, yeah, like I said, too easy. Sounds like you guys have a great team, though. Very, very cool to hear about that. So Bloom moving forward, you guys obviously are going to be graduating high school. You're going to be kind of leaving the brat community in a lot of ways. Obviously, you're still very much intertwined with this organization you've created. What does it look like going forward? Is there going to be any like passing down responsibilities? Or you guys like have like big plans? Just like tell me what you're thinking with it. I know it's probably a big deal to you guys. Tell me what your thought process is right now.
Yeah, that's a very scary thought.
Sorry, I'm curious.
That's kind of what this. Yes, we're curious too. But yeah, we kind of the truth is we don't really know for sure. We're definitely going to sit down this summer and make a plan for our future. But it's definitely going to involve some sort of passing down when we can get young people who are more just as passionate and are able to maintain the site. Yeah, I wish I could tell you more, but we really,
I don't know.
we really
I don't
need to
know
figure
how
this
we're
out
gonna
though.
do. Like I think like we knew we wanted it to be a living, breathing thing, and that would include passing it down because it wouldn't be fair if it was always run by the same two people forever.
That's so tough to do, though. I couldn't imagine.
It's so tough. And like thinking about like reaching 20 and like having to step down because I'm not a military teen anymore, like already breaks my heart. But I think that Matthew and I both know that like this is never something we can shake. Like it's not something we can like drop and let go and pretend never happened in our lives. And I think we know that like wherever it goes in the future, we'll always be very involved in it, but we don't always want to lead it. Like it's up to the future of military teens to lead it. As scary and sad as that may be for us to say now, it's the whole premise is that it's by military teens for military teens, and there's going to be a time where we're not military teens anymore.
You could alter the slogan a little bit. We can fit you guys in there.
Well, the core of it is like our community represents themselves. Adults. Exactly, right? And I would love to see Bloom grow and encompass, more age groups. But like I said, at the end of the day, it was made to represent ourselves. And, there's going to come a time where we're not of that age anymore and someone else is going to need to step up and speak up. So I'm looking forward to see where it goes. But I also know that I'll never truly leave it. So.
That's so good though, because it shows you guys are doing it for the right reasons too. Like you're putting like the military teens first. I know that sounds easy, but once like you have all this stuff going, you can be like so absorbed in just making the content or whatnot. But you guys like have all the right intentions. You want to do it for the good reasons, and I salute you guys for that. That's so impressive to do.
Thank you.
Of course. I don't think I told you guys I'm a rising sophomore in college, so my dad's retired from the military, so I'm retired brat or whatnot. But you guys are rising seniors. You said what's your personal futures looking like moving forwards? I know it's a heavy process. There's a lot. You have so many. I'm asking you guys the hardest questions. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
I brought my A game for this one. I usually take it so easy on people. I want to know. I'm curious. What are you guys looking for in terms of colleges? I know, especially in Korea, like the college application process abroad is just the biggest pain in the butt. I mean, there's just so many extra things that go into it with SAT testing. There's less of that, and then your address, whatever. You know what I'm talking about.
AP.
Yeah. So tell me.
AP. Yep.
Yeah, the worst. Tell me where you guys are with all that.
I took a practice ACT today and I did not do well, which does not bode well.
It's okay. It's okay.
It's okay. Most colleges are test optional.
Test optional. Yep.
Yeah, but I'm actually working on writing my Common App essay. Hoping to have that done by the end of the week. And I mean, after that, it's applying to colleges. I intend to apply for public policy, public administration, nonprofit management. If you can't tell, like, I found a passion within Bloom,
I can see that.
It's definitely like the sphere I want to work in. And I would love to keep working for Bloom as long as I can, or, be involved in some way. But I also know there's going to be a time where I might not have to be as involved as I am right now. And that's okay, which is why I'm hoping to study something that might help me, get involved in other organizations.
Right.
I've always been passionate about music and education, and so I'm leaning towards a music education path right now. But I'm also, strongly wanting to double major in something else related to Bloom, whether it's like organizational development or policy or something like that. But yeah, I'm gonna try to knock out some college apps this summer. Um, Shout out to my English teacher for requiring me to do my college essay at the end of the school year. So that's already checked off. And right now, I just got to finish up the applications, auditions, stuff like that.
Oh yeah, the auditions. I've heard a little bit. I had
Mhm.
a one girl come on the show before. She's in school for theater now, and she was having. It was during COVID, so she's sending videos of her like
Mhm.
acting, and I was like, oh
Right.
my, that sounds like the worst thing ever. Is that similar? Is that what they're doing with you? I guess that's how it would always
Um,
be.
well, yeah, for overseas, it's kind of
Oh yeah,
always,
for sure.
videos. But I think they're still working out what's going to happen this year because,
Hmm.
normally auditions are live. I kind of hope they're virtual. It kind of puts me on a more level playing field, being
Yeah.
overseas. But also, having a virtual audition while everyone else is in person is kind of makes you an outlier too, and maybe you get
Hmm.
examined as an outlier as well. So I don't know, it's a mixed bag, and we'll see how it looks. For
he's
me, it's
he's probably
definitely
gonna
going to
end
be
up in
virtual.
like the best school ever. He's probably gonna like go to
I
like
don't. I'm not sure about that. But yeah.
It's a stressful process for sure, and I guess it makes it you feel any better. I think everyone after doing a year of all virtual stuff, like it'll be pretty normal. And I think the same goes for all the schools, like their online like campus tours and everything. I think those are gonna be so much better now, especially for overseas kids. That's kind of one of the,
Hmm.
like you said, not a blessing that COVID is, but it's one of those things military kids can benefit from who are living overseas. But regardless, it sounds like you guys are gonna have some pretty good applications with this whole Bloom thing working out so successfully.
we'll
It's gonna
see.
look pretty good.
We'll see. I'm trying to plan as if it's going to be as competitive as last year's was. So
Hmm.
hopefully it'll all work out for us. But I firmly believe that whatever happens, happens for a reason. One door closes, another door opens, so to speak. So I think that Matthew especially, but I think both of us have a very bright future, and I'm excited to see where we both end up and what happens.
That's so great to hear. Yes. Well, I wish you guys the absolute best. Um, I don't have anything else planned to talk about. If there's anything else like big you want to address with Bloom or anything else military kid issues, I'm happy to talk. But it's been an
Well,
absolute pleasure talking with you guys and
yeah,
hearing
you
all
as
about
well.
this
Thank you for
great
having us
great
on the.
organization. Of
Yeah,
course.
thanks for having us on the show. We appreciate it. We love your work, and
I
just do your
appreciate that
best.
very much.
This is very fun. I was super tired after my practice SAT today, and now I feel super energetic.
Yeah, I always once I'm done doing these, I'm always like, "Is anyone want to hang out right now?" Like I'm
Right?
like all of a sudden I have just like this big boost. It's
It's like
honestly
adrenaline.
yeah,
It's great.
it's almost 10 o'clock now, so I'm not sure if
Oh my god.
I should be doing that.
You're
It was a
right.
late
You're right.
one.
It is almost 10
It's
o'clock.
it's the time zones.
Matthew's like chilling. It's probably like 12. What time is it, Matthew?
10:46 a.m. But
He's
yeah,
got a whole
I have a
day ahead of
piano
him.
lesson in a bit, and yeah, I do, and which is really
Okay,
weird because I'm always like, "Good morning, oh wait, it's evening for
gotcha.
you, and you're about to go to bed." So
Yeah.
I'm sure you're familiar with that, having lived in Okinawa. But yeah,
Yeah. Well, I won't take any more of your guys' time. Really appreciate it. Once again, see you all next week. This was absolutely fantastic interview.